Hey everyone, Josh here, and this is my Atlanta Comic-Con 2019 toy haul video. And I'm going to show you guys everything I bought at Atlanta Comic-Con 2019. And I'm going to talk about the convention a little bit and show you guys some of the pictures I took. I didn't shoot a lot of video this year. I did focus more on just taking pictures. And what I'll do here is after we talk about the toys and everything like that, I'll do a slideshow at the end of this video showing you guys all the pictures of the cosplayers and things like that I took photos of. This is the second year in a row I've gone to Atlanta Comic-Con, and I believe it's a fairly new convention to Atlanta. It's different than the other big con they have every year, which is called Dragon Con, and that's at the end of August. And this is a newer one, and I believe this may only be the second or third year that they've done it. And I went last year and this year, and I can tell you, at least in my experience, it seems to have grown, and at least the amount of people that seem to be there and be interested, it seemed to be a lot bigger crowd, a lot more enthusiastic crowd. And so here it is. This is the poster they gave out this year, and every year they do a free poster that they give out at the door, and this one is called Star-Lord's Adventures in Babysitting, and it's done by a famous comic artist. I'll be honest, I'm not that familiar with comics, so I couldn't tell you who it is, but he drew Star-Lord and Babysitting Groot there. But this is the free poster they gave away at the door, and so that's pretty cool. Okay, so then I went there, and I love going to comic conventions because I love being around the cosplay people. I don't do it myself, but I think the people who do it are amazing. I love being around it, and I actually, a lot of the pictures I'll show you at the end of this video, we went to the costume contest that the convention put on this year, and it was really well done. It was very cool. They had two girls hosting the thing, moderating it. It was really well done. They did a great job, and I'll show you guys the photos I took of that. And then the other reason I go there, of course, is for the toy shopping, which is what I'm all about. And so my big thing is I go around all the toy vendors and try to make deals with them. And right now in my collection, what I'm primarily focusing on, I have like really a couple things. I'm really focusing on the 6-inch Black Series. That is currently probably what I would say is my favorite thing to collect. And then after that, the 3 3/4-inch figures, but more specifically, what I'm trying to collect right now and go back and get complete runs of is Power of the Force 2, Power of the Jedi, and then all three of the prequel movies, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and of course Revenge of the Sith. And one of the reasons I'm doing that right now is, for me, Power of the Force 2 is when those came out, that was when I started collecting. I was in my late teens, and I remember when those came out, and I have very fond memories of collecting those. That was what I started with. Now, I am old enough to remember way back in the 80s, the stuff that came out with the original trilogy, but I was so young, I just barely remember it, so I don't have as much nostalgia towards it as I do towards, at least collecting-wise, as I do towards Power of the Force. And another reason I'm collecting those right now is because you can get them for really cheap, because in the collecting world right now, they seem to be like, they just get a lot of hate. Nobody really likes them, and I don't really understand that. I really love them. I love collecting them, and I'm so happy you can go around to conventions and toy shows right now and online and get them really cheap. So I'm trying to get a complete run of Power of the Force 2, Power of the Jedi, and the prequel lines. So let me show you what I found. And one of the other tips I want to give you guys is when you go to these conventions, try to negotiate with the vendors. Don't be mean to them. These guys are trying to make some money. Some of them are actually trying to make a living doing this. But if you're nice to them, you chat with them a little bit, and they'll have price tags on most everything. And if you talk to them and say, hey, would you give it to me for a few dollars less, a lot of them will deal with you and make a deal with you and give you a discount. So it's about being nice to people and negotiating with them, and you'll probably be surprised with what you can get. So, for example, this is the first thing I bought, and it is what you would probably know as the Galactic Heroes line today, but this is the predecessor of it. This is they're calling it the Jedi Force line, but it's a 2-pack of R2 and 3PO. And where I found this was in one of those junk bins under the table, and he had it labeled for $5 each. And he actually had an old price tag on it I've taken off since then, where he wanted $50 for this thing. And I went up and asked the vendor, I said, look, man, I'm not paying $50 for it. And I said, but I really want that set. And he's like, oh, I've had that thing in that bin for years. He's like, I'll give it to you for $5. And then I negotiated with him some more, and he gave it to me for $2.50. He said, I've had that thing, I've been carrying it around for years. He said, I just want to get rid of it. And I got this for $2.50. And his original price tag on it was $50. But that just goes to show you, if you talk to these guys and negotiate with them, you can get deals. But it's called Jedi Force, and of course the packaging is a little bit damaged. You know, it's like he said, he's been carrying it around for years. But they're about 5-inch figures, or at least 3POs, I'd say. But Jedi Force, and they are from Play School. But very cool set. And it says here you can try 3PO and press the button on his chest, but I think his batteries are dead, so I'm going to have to open this up and swap out the batteries. But as the first thing I picked up, very cool, because I do actually collect the Galactic Heroes line. So, but there we go. Moving on from there, I did get one thing from The Force Awakens, and it is from that scene that I had heard rumors about on the internet, but I never actually seen footage of it. But supposedly they were supposed to be in the Rey flashback scene that you were actually going to see Luke and Vader fighting from the Empire Strikes Back. So they made a figure for that, and this is Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker in Force Awakens packaging. And what you can see here is the vendor I bought this from is, the price tag is really small, but if you guys can see it, it says $5. Well, I negotiated with this vendor, and I got him to give me, I made multiple purchases from him, but one I remember I gave him, he gave me 5 figures for $20, so I paid $4 a figure. And another time, I think I got, I can't remember exactly how many I bought the second time, because I went back, I'm going back and forth from booth to booth, but basically I paid somewhere around $3 a figure. I bought a whole bunch, there's a big stack of figures next to me, but it says $5 on here, but that's not what I paid for them. So just know, for every figure we're looking at here, I paid less than $4 for. Some of them I paid as low as $3 for. But anyway, going on, Force Awakens, Luke Skywalker in his Empire Strikes Back outfit. So that is cool. And then this is one I have, but all my prequel figures, or most of them, and most of my Power of the Force figures, I have all of them, but I've opened them. So now I'm trying to go back and get ones in the box. But this is Darth Sidious from Episode 1. Really clean card, everything. So I think I paid $4 for him as well. So very cool. And then just trying to plug some holes in my Attack of the Clones, but I got a Geonosian warrior from Geonosis, one of the bug creatures. And same booth, I think I paid about $4 for this one as well. So clean card, good looking figure, and this is actually one I do not have in my collection, so I was pretty excited to pick that one up. And then everything, oh no, not everything else is Power of the Force. So then I did get 3 Power of the Jedi figures, and this is a line that I really need to do some catch up on, because it was just a period in my life where I wasn't doing a lot of collecting, so I don't have a lot of it. But I got a Tusken Raider from Power of the Jedi, so very cool. And then I got Princess Leia in her Bespin escape outfit, and she comes with 2 E11 blasters, which is pretty cool. So very cool. It's a little white jumpsuit she wore in Empire Strikes Back. So very cool. And then finally, and I hope I'm not butchering the name, but I got Mas Amida. I'm not totally sure I'm pronouncing his name right, but it's the assistant to Chancellor Palpatine, or I think it was his assistant. He was always by his side in the films, but it's the guy with the blue face and the horns that was in the Senate with Palpatine most of the movies. But picked him up as well, plugging a hole in the collection. And everything else I got left is Power of the Force 2. And again, that was just where, as a collector, I started. And I have all these figures, but they're all open, so I'm going back and plugging holes. So very excited to get these. And I got them for a really, really good deal. So we'll start off with the red cards. I got a stack of red cards, which, if you know anything about this line, when they were first released, they came out in these black and red cards, and then after a short while, they transitioned to the cards being green and black. So these were what came out first, but I have Han Solo in his Hoth gear. So Han Solo in Hoth gear, and then I got Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi, the old Alec Guinness Obi-Wan Kenobi. Very cool. Then, of course, Darth Vader, and this card has a little damage, there's a little warp to it. But that's cool, we can work with that. But Darth Vader, and Princess Leia, and this is the 2 stripe on the belt variant. There's a different variant of her where the belt on her little skirt is different. One has 2 stripes and the other has 3. And then, okay, so I had a collector ask me this today, or I don't know if he was a collector, but a guy asked me this today on Instagram because I was posting pictures of these figures. Because I'm getting them for such a good price, I'm buying multiples. And as a lot of you are probably watching this are collectors, you understand why. But if you've never heard of it before, I believe in the collecting rule of 3. And so you buy one to open, you buy one to keep in the box, and then you buy one to trade with other collectors. The rule of 3. So you may have not heard of it, but I have. So, but picked up 3 Yodas in his Jedi trainer backpack. So of course that's Yoda from Empire Strikes Back with the backpack that he was wearing in Luke. Got 3 of those guys. Very cool. So got one other thing that's cool, and the rest of them are green cards, but here's an example of the green card I was talking about. But so what you have to understand, when these figures came out, the only thing movie-wise that was released at the time was the original trilogy, and so there's only so much content they had to make figures out of, so they had to start creating things, and so they did things like what is called a deluxe figure, and this is the Boba Fett deluxe figure, and basically it's just a Boba Fett figure, and he comes with a giant jetpack, and it's, think of his backpack on steroids, and there's a kind of a picture here you can see on the back, and I did do a review of this figure if you go back on my channel and look at some of my older videos. But it's just a giant backpack that he wears. Wasn't in the movie, wasn't in any other kind of expanded universe. It's just something they did to have a new reason to sell a Boba Fett figure. So. But it's very cool. I like it. I'm a fan of them. I have the whole set. So, but now I got one in the box. So there's a little bit of damage on it. So, but other than that, it looks pretty clean. Okay, so then everything else I got is the green card, Power of the Force 2, and another set of 3. I got the Slave Leia, Power of the Force 2. Got a really good deal on these. I think I paid about $2 or $3 a piece. So for the same reason, rule of 3, picked up 3 Slave Leias. Whoa. So, oh, see, and this is, they even changed the language. I forgot. This is inappropriate to call her Slave Leia. It is Jabba's prisoner, Princess Leia Organa as Jabba's prisoner. So I apologize, that's not the correct terminology. So, alright. And then moving on from there, we got Grand Moff Tarkin, Power of the Force 2. And this guy's got a little bit of damage on the bubble, but I got Han Solo with assault rifle and blaster rifle. And that was one of the things I actually did like about this line, is I think almost every one of, not everyone, but most of the characters came with 2 or more rifles. And I don't even think there was ever a point in any of the movies where Han Solo actually used a rifle other than when they were in the Stormtrooper disguise, but he actually comes with his pistol and a rifle, so very cool. Then you have Luke Skywalker in his Bespin outfit, and it's the same one as the Power of the Force, or the Force Awakens one I got here, but there you go. There is the Power of the Force one, and just to do a quick side-by-side, there you go. There's the Force Awakens one. Same character, same outfit, just two different lines. So, very cool. And he comes with a lightsaber and detachable hand and blaster pistol. So, very cool. Then, this is one of my favorites. The card and the bubble are all real clean. Emperor Palpatine with walking stick. So, very cool. And Lack Sivrak. And this guy was briefly in episode 4. He was in the cantina. And he looks kind of like a werewolf, for lack of a better description. And they made a figure out of him, so very cool. He's one of those, I honestly think his screen time was probably less than 2 seconds, but they did make a figure of him, so very cool. And then my 3 favorites that I probably, out of everything I picked up this week, other than the Boba Fett, was the Empire Bounty Hunters, or some of them. I got 3 of them. I got Bosk from Empire Strikes Back. Then I got Forlom from Empire Strikes Back. And then I got Dengar from Empire Strikes Back. And, oh, actually, I did leave one thing on the other side of the camera that I did pick up. Give me a sec. Alright, so when I was digging through the same bin that these guys came out of, at the same booth, I found this little sucker. It was in the bin just like this. He was getting all tore up. He's in his little tray that was in his card, and I had to do a little research because I asked the booth vendor, and he couldn't remember what it was from, and I actually thought it was from this set here, the Force Awakens Slave One and Force Awakens packaging, excuse me. And if you do a side-by-side of the 2 figures, they do look almost like the exact same figure, but the way they're packaged in the packaging is different. The jetpack is down here, and the blaster rifle, I actually think these are the same figures, just repacked. But I had to do a little research, and if you look on his leg, he has 2013 stamped on the inside of his legs. Most figures, if you look, somewhere in the bottom or somewhere on their legs, they have a year of production or a year they were licensed stamped on their leg. And this guy's from 2013. I had to do a little research, but it was the Saga Legends collection, and it came out, I believe this figure was released in 2014. But it's the card where it was Darth Vader with kind of a red outline. He was like reaching out like this. It was the Saga Legends collection, but I picked this guy up for $250. And the only reason I even did it, I don't like buying loose figures too often, is because he had all the accessories and they were there. His blaster is looped around his arm and has a little loop on it, and then the jetpack's in there as well. But got a loose Saga Legends collection, Boba Fett, and I paid $250 for this. And I thought, for $250, how can you go wrong with all the accessories and Boba Fett? So, but 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. About 25 figures is what I picked up. I might have my count off a little bit. I'm counting really quick. But that was it, guys. That was everything I picked up at Atlanta Comic Con 2019. And if you guys live in Atlanta or live near Atlanta or in the area, I highly recommend you check out Atlanta Comic Con. It is in July every year, somewhere in the middle of the month. And it's very fun, it's very cool, tons of cosplay going on. It was very exciting. And so I'm done talking here, and what I'm going to do when I put this video together is I'm going to put a bunch of pictures that I took at the convention of cosplayers, and the Batmobile was there, and some Jurassic Park vehicles, and things like that. I took pictures, a lot of pictures, so I'll make a little slideshow at the end of this. And thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.